High above his skeletal frame, the skyline of New York whispered about wealth, but on the frost-licked gravel of the industrial waterfront, Elias sat in total silence, breathing in the exhaust of trucks. He didn't represent any human value at all. For 5 relentless years, he became part of the landscape, like a rusted bollard or a forgotten bolt on a pier wall, while wealthy shipping agents in tailored coats passed him with glazed eyes, looking into the mid-glamour of the distance. He stayed alive on the lukewarm offerings of trash receptacles and lived for the sound of crashing diesel waves from the barges. Deep in the heart of winter, when the winds coming off the Atlantic threatened to tear through his remaining shirt, Elias began realizing that silence provided the clearest vision among these mechanical forests. Everyone was walking so fast to reach somewhere significant that they ignored the small ripples left behind in world records. The forgotten manifests, the oily cargo sheets, and the discarded logs became his evening news. Among the crunched debris of plastic lids and heavy coffee stains, things that looked like white noise began to shift for him. It was a cold Wednesday night, and his fingers were half numbed when he straightened out a tattered copy of a ship manifest destined for Hamburg and Rotterdam, then diverted curiously back. For anyone else, it was just black boxes filled with shipping numbers that bored the brain, but to his eyes, it screamed a glitch in logic itself. Every third page, a small comma in a numeric string shifted off balance by just 1 decimal point. In manual data translation through custom software across distinct national servers, that meant the shipping software viewed thousands of units as marked for long storage when the cargo remained active. This displacement of simple digital figures created a logic dead zone where millions of dollars tied to global consumer cycles vanished temporarily, hidden precisely within mountains of high-detail data errors. These were overlooked as simple clerical mistakes, but for a man holding garbage, they held the key to gold. Watching is free, but acting on knowledge this profound cost him all remaining strength. He took refuge at an all-night laundromat, nursing one lukewarm cup of coffee won through aluminum scavenging, checking numbers by heart. He compared Manifest L through Manifest Z across physical port maps. He tested the pattern in real time, sitting outside Logistics Bay 4, witnessing a 40-ton truck sitting perfectly idle because the software stated Container 6XX contained hazardous waste due to a bad scan digit, rather than the organic hemp intended by the sender. Elias gripped the cold terminal gate, waiting for signs that the algorithm would fix itself across long, boring trade shifts. One small part of him wondered if he could call the driver over, telling him why the world kept holding his route on ice while profits bled away. He risked nothing but some remaining shards of personal visibility once he decided it wasn't a shadow vision. He followed the shipment line logic on physical observation paths until the late morning came over the dark ships. Clutching a small tablet acquired for $6 in tokens plus favors with neighborhood repair shops, his fingers struck at screen keys like digital lightning. He called a mid-sized exporter who claimed thousands were missing on Dock Terminal 8. Using only his shaky voice over a low-quality phone, he asked them if they had misplaced item ID 481 Echo based on one small typo found upon paper from 2 different docks. The owner yelled initially, thinking he was a scammer, but after 7 long, tense moments when someone physically looked exactly where the shipping manifests lied and failed against physical reality, the crates were located right where his simple data analysis placed them. For finding 2 crates, he received nearly $50 in direct reward payment, which changed the night cold forever. It signaled our start toward greater fortunes reached over simple logic glitch patterns by high-alert thinkers looking specifically behind the common blind screens shared around modern commercial centers today. One $50 check became 6 in under 4 weeks, the cold seasons turning slightly humid on dockside walls. He wasn't doing physical labor now. No heavy lifting of packages occurred while they watched and suspected Elias. To an observer, or a drone high overhead, we see only a man sitting on a small bucket, holding some scraps with an intense glare on screen shadows glowing blue inside the evening fog. The machine was essentially composed of his systematic mapping and understanding of why logistics departments constantly allow high-speed entry leading into high-mass confusion across manual customs checkpoints. Every single small win proved his repeatability for scaling automated finding services without anyone really seeing their ghost. He created physical flowcharts linking comma errors with time delays and dock zone loading shifts at major high-peak shipping cycles occurring twice weekly around major hubs. He used paper math and brain logic cycles repeatedly, daily, until the manual process became a blueprint for something much larger and more powerful. The ascent caused high tides to swell against his secret, quiet progress. As he sought contract roles from smaller firms, the shipping magnates eventually noticed Elias through private reports mentioning a shadow tracking of global manifest flows outside sanctioned channels. They mocked it, calling mistake hunting a waste during expensive shipping cycles, but high-tech directors inside global glass towers did fear this precise finding skill. They feared a ghost using a humble digital tablet to expose systematic weaknesses in global logic centers without approval records. They tried to block his access to the port data, but Elias had already memorized the rhythms of the Iron Giants. He found gold logic where machines produced chaos, positioning himself as the only person capable of untangling the knots they didn't even know they had tied. He was no longer just a man in the shadows. He was becoming a silent architect of the very system that had once rendered him invisible, fighting against the corporate Goliath with nothing but the truth of a misplaced destiny. Then came the digital shadows of our era, where metal turns to code and code turns toward the heavy iron walls at logic shipping bays. Elias now turned towards absolute digital systems, using the code of automated data correction, which found these shipping errors 40 million times every nanosecond across global terminal flows. He linked manifests with physical GPS dots located along every blue ocean mile, under clouds we look down through today. His software automation found value in finding loss, finding delay costs, and then recovering millions back for giant merchants under strict data correction fee models. Financial gain reached total automation from home using his code alone. We watch as millions shift between world borders through sheer digital clarity born behind paper grit. The recursive checks find value where others see only noise, turning the boring reality of logistics into a fountain of recurring wealth. He built an empire not on new products, but on the correction of old mistakes, proving that in a world of massive data, the person who sees the smallest detail owns the entire map. Years have drifted like those cold Atlantic foam crests once hitting on docks, long faded since the early hard start struggles. He sits silent, having survived long periods of cold by realizing every system contains tiny leaks for men watching the right details. The terminal errors worth massive finance rewards became his simple kingdom. He is the quiet builder watching global transit correct digital manifests across heavy shipload systems for billionaire entities. He survived the ghost status of poor dock shadows to become the master of the port. He turned total poverty into a massive legacy by fixing specifically what most chose not to see carefully through a long, hard gaze and patient winter soul analysis. He is no longer invisible. He is the essential gear in the global machine. As the sun sets over the blue ocean horizons, the man who once slept on gravel now owns the data that moves the world, proving that wealth isn't always about creating something new, but about finding the value in what everyone else has thrown away.